What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. So we have been working on the house non-stop, and I have not had a chance to really film anything. I'm just being lazy and not filming. I should have been, and I apologize. I've done a lot, and I just want to update you guys on what's gone on. And I whacked myself today in the head with a ratchet and a 24mm socket. It hit me right in the noggin, so that's why I got a big egg on my head if you're looking. Anyway, I'll show you guys the bathroom progress. See, this room, if you remember, was all, if you look at the end of the last video, there was a lot in here that needed help. So I ripped basically everything apart all the way to the studs, re-insulated. I put in a fan, wired it in. It's pretty nice. It's a Panasonic Whisper fan. There's different models of the Whisper series, but it's very quiet. I put in new electrical over here because we had wires twisted in the wall right here, which is totally not to code. So I put in a new electrical box there, and I just wired that in as a temp light. But I'll clean all the wire up and I'll fix it and all that good stuff. It's just temporary until I decide what kind of fixture we're gonna do, and I can relocate. And then I put outlets in here, which I ran a 20 amp from the main panel downstairs, a 20 amp home run that comes up here into this GFCI, and we also get power coming out of there. I ran it a special way that I wanted to do it because I wanted, basically, if you're in here with the vanity light on, and you also maybe have this light on. This is the bathroom fan light. Also, I'll show you this while we're here. Also, the fan's really quiet, it comes on later, but there's a night light feature, so if you're going pee late at night, you don't have to blind yourself. So I ran 12-3. I know 12 is overkill for the gauge, but it is a 20 amp circuit. I was trying to keep it consistent, except for the lighting on here, but that's irrelevant. So I ran two different switches here. So you got a nightlight switch and you've got a fan switch. But if this is on, it's GFCI protected. If you trip the GFCI, see how one red there? You will still have this light on because I didn't protect this particular light. That way, if the GFCI trips while you're doing something in here, you don't lose all of your lights, you know, because you don't want to have the GFCI trip and then you lose your lights. So I wired it where this will always have power even if the GFCI trips, and you don't need to protect fixtures with the GFI, so no big deal. And anything downstream of this is protected, including this provision here for the heated floor. I have some wires stuffed in the box there. This will be for the heated floor, and the fan is protected, as well as all these other outlets. So these are all on the load side. So I have an outlet right here that I added. This one here, which will hopefully be behind the medicine cabinet, or we may get a powered medicine cabinet with a backlight. I'm not sure yet, so we're gonna have to use that. And then this is the main GFI. So these outlets don't need to be GFIs because they're protected downstream from the GFCI over here. Anyway, the fan's kicking on. So quiet. You probably can't even hear it. But yeah, so I did a lot to insulate. We did all new R13 in the walls, and I did R19 in the ceiling, and that's kind of what we could fit. I could have probably fit R21, but I just feel weird about it being thinner than R19. And R19 I think is cheaper, and I just did that. It's going to be way better than it was, so I think we're going to be fine. The whole house needs re-insulating, so I'm not going to get caught up over a couple of R values, you know what I'm saying? I had like R nothing there, okay, R4. So we got all that re-insulated, which is huge. I think it's way less drafty in here since I did that. So I'm pretty much ready to put sheetrock up. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with this wall over here. Once I cut back the framing and try to straighten this wall, I think I'm just going to try to straighten this door jamb out. And based on that, I'll be able to start putting up sheetrock on the ceiling, and we can really get this show on the road. I got to work on the subfloor too. I'm putting down a heated flooring system, so we're going to do 3/8 plywood on the floor. And tonight I was going to work on trying to get rid of this toilet flange. So I'm just going to keep making some videos on what I'm up to, guys, just to try to keep you in the loop. And I really should, because I think it's cool stuff that I'm into. It's all new for me. I'm learning as I go. And I'm less inclined to film when I'm learning too, because I don't want to seem stupid. But I usually only will film once I know what I'm talking about and I can explain stuff, because that's kind of the style of videos I like to do. I know it's a lot of talking, but you know, hopefully some of you hardcore fans are still interested in this kind of stuff that I'm doing. But I'm going to show you guys how to remove a leaded joint, because that's what we have here with this cast iron pipe. So I'm going to go downstairs in the basement, do a little cleanup, and we'll see if we can get to this leaded joint here. Alright, so here's what we're working with. I'm pretty sure that I can't do much tonight about it, based on what I was looking at. So I'm looking at this here cast iron pipe, and this is what used to probably go to something. It does not anymore. Possibly the old tub, I think, was hooked into this, and then there must have been some other inlet for a sink at one point, but now the sink's plumbed differently, so it's plumbed into up there. I guess they probably had it going in up there. They redid the bathroom at one point and changed it, but this still has the original leaded joint here. I think they just cut it and then somehow tried to seam this other piece in, which, if you can see, it is cracked. So this is an accident waiting to happen. So I'm just gonna get rid of this. I could just probably throw some sort of Fernco over this brass piece, and maybe that is like the better way to go for right now. But I'm just worried about in the future if I may have an issue with the leaded joint here and this problem. I'd rather just put a Fernco on it now, but I also don't want to like make a huge project if I don't have to. So that leaded joint, it seems like it's okay. So maybe I should just clean this up and just put a Fernco over this, you know. So I think it is just a 5-inch size. So maybe I should just crack this guy off and try to figure out how to put my toilet flange right through there with some PVC, and just throw like a Fernco rubber coupling over that, and I think maybe I'll be good. Like something like this, but like, you know, sleeves, so I can put some PVC in. I'd probably have to do, I'd probably have to convert size. That's probably why they didn't do that at the time, is this is a 5-inch, and how would you get that to, I don't know if they make those 5 to 4 inch. They may make a 5 to 4 inch. So I'll have to look into that. So I think I got a game plan. I'm gonna leave the leaded joint alone until one day when this cast iron pipe rots out, and then I'll change this whole section here out for PVC, whatever that entails. That'll be a huge job. I'm gonna have to replace the whole vent pipe, but I'm not gonna get into touching any of this cast iron right now. I'm just gonna stay right here. So I put myself some blue tape, and I'm gonna use a hacksaw and try to very gently cut this on the left side of the crack, and then just put a Fernco over this, and then run my PVC to the Fernco, and I think that should get me by. And at least my flange and everything is solid. I can always adapt this later on without touching anything in the bathroom. That's what I care about. This pipe can be jammed up through the ceiling, no problem, so not too worried about that. Can always figure that out in the future. But for right now, we're just gonna make a cut here with the hacksaw, and then I'll see what everything's looking like. I'll see if I can get that old pipe out of there. Alright, so my shoulders are burning, but I cut this right on my tape line, so we are separated. Now I just gotta figure out how to get the flange out of there. I'm almost thinking I want to make another cut a little bit higher, like up on top of the wall there, and then try to just pull it out from the top and then get this section out of here without destroying anything. That's the plan. So I don't know, I think I need to make another cut. So I might do that, or I might pull some of the wood off up top. I think if I pull some of that wood that they added there, I might be able to get this thing out of there. So I've removed all those boards. You can see we got a nice gaping hole into the bathroom. I think I'm gonna cut some of these boards out of there and maybe replace it with a little bit of 3/4 ply, just so the subfloor has something to go over top of, because I'm gonna put down 3/8, which is kind of thin, but I'm just trying to get my height right, and I may pour down self-leveler too. I still gotta take some measurements, gotta get a nice 3-foot level. Anyway, I have this all cleaned up. I used this file and just kind of went around the edge, just had to make sure there weren't any burrs. Now I'm just gonna chisel the inside a little bit. It's a little bit nasty in there, as you would expect. I don't know. It's really dry and it doesn't really smell, but I'm still gonna cap it off. I don't want any sewer gases in the house while I'm working on this stuff, and should be able to redo the floor. And then once I decide I'm gonna put the toilet in, I can drill my hole and plumb it all up. But until then, I'm just gonna seal it off. All right, so I got my Fernco coupler there, which is a 4" to 3". So it worked out nicely. I was able to clean that thing up. I cleaned up the inside of the pipe a little bit. I want to do more. It's all scaled up where this brass section is. It looks pretty gnarly in there, guys. I don't know how many more years I'll get out of this cast iron pipe, but we'll rock it until it rots, and then we'll figure it out then. For now, this project's already out of control, this bathroom, so we're just gonna do what we absolutely have to while we're in there. So this, I found this like little pot thing. I taped up some of the holes in it, and then I stuck it in there, tightened on the worm gear clamps there, and this is a pretty solid temporary setup here to keep the gas from coming out, even though it really doesn't smell. Yeah, it's gonna be just for safety. You don't want any gases coming into the house. So yeah, that's pretty sweet, guys. We got, you know, something done tonight. I'm happy with that. So yeah, just gonna pick away at it. I'll see what the next project holds on a future night. So it's the following, actually it's 2 nights later. Last night I spent at Lowe's and messing around with a pickup truck, which I'll show you guys in a minute. And I also got this to fit. So I cut this piece of OSB that I got, and before you say anything about, oh, you shouldn't use OSB by the toilet, you know what? If it leaks, we're kind of screwed either way. So it is what it is. OSB, I'll tear it up like anything else. I don't think it's going to leak. We'll do a nice job with the toilet and the wax ring. And I'm going to go reinforce it from the other side too, underneath. I may throw a brace from joist to joist this way, but I'm going to screw it really good. And then we're going to go over this with 3/8 as well. So not terribly worried about the integrity of it. It's where the toilet goes, and the toilet is going to be supported by the joists in front and back, so I'm not too concerned. So what I do want to show you guys now is the truck that I'm working on, because that's a whole different ball game here. So we got my buddy's truck here. It's somebody I used to work with. It's a 4.3 2-wheel drive. Pretty bare bones, but I love this thing. It drives so nice. I love the way a 2-wheel truck drives. A 2-wheel drive truck rides. That's what I'm trying to say. But he's got some snows on here, studded snows, and he's no stranger to driving in the winter, so he's got no problems with it. But he does have problems with the truck itself. We have a vent solenoid code. He had a scan from AutoZone in there, but basically he had a vent solenoid circuit code, as well as a gross evap leak and a vent solenoid performance code. So we had all 3 of those codes in there related to the vent solenoid. Obviously it needs vent solenoid. I went in there to test the wiring. As you can see, I have the adapter, so it changes the old style to the new style connector. And we hooked into this evap line here going to the canister. And then we have our upper line here that runs this way. I'll see if I can see what the screen looks like. That way I can show you guys what it's doing. So it goes up this way. You can see that upper vent line off the solenoid. That's when it does vent. It goes upwards, and then it heads over to, basically, it heads right over to the top of the transmission mount here, and I'm going to zip tie it to those that harness and other vent line there. And this vent has to point down. That's the key here, is you want it pointing down because you don't want water to fall inside of that. So, and I like sloping it downhill too from the actual solenoid. That way anything will drain out of there, any moisture, because you don't want any water getting in there, and it'll freeze inside of the solenoid, and then it can blow it out, blow it apart. Or, you know, just water in the solenoid's bad in general. So, in the vent valve is what I'm talking about. So yeah, this is the repair. I'm gonna zip tie that like I said, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so the vent solenoid is installed. I put in the new multifunction switch for the wipers, installed the new key cylinder, and I just have to put in this thing right here so that you can change the position on the tilt wheel, or you know, tilt the steering wheel. So I did have a little problem with some clips here. This old plastic is so prone to breaking, and unfortunately we got a little saggy panel here now. And not much I can do about it right now. I'd like to try to fix it. It's, you know, I can epoxy stuff. It's just so cold. Nothing's gonna work right now. So for now, I think we're gonna leave it. But the key works great now. He's got a new key, and this new key turns immediately, as opposed to before. This other key, you could just tell the difference. It doesn't want to turn. It doesn't like it. So I would no longer use that key, and this key works great. So this is his new key. So I want to fire this thing up. I think I have to learn the new key. So I'm gonna have to put this in learn mode, or I think what you do is you gotta swipe this key and then swipe the other key. But I just gotta get this old key to swipe here. See, this is so annoying to try to do this to get your key to turn. So usually when this happens, you need a cylinder. Now I recommend a cylinder and a new key, just because that'll always fix it. Sometimes the cylinder fixes it in most cases, but I literally can't get this to turn in the ignition. I don't know how he used to get in the truck and do this. Maybe he's like got the way that it works, but this is really bad. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to learn this new key. I think there's another method with the scan tool, which I have, but you can't just force it, you know. It just doesn't want to go. Try it the other way. Wow, the wheel's not locked. Wow, that's bad. Okay, so I got it. Great. I eventually got it to turn, and then I got the other key in there. Another key runs the truck now, so we're doing good. So now I'm gonna get the scan tool, and I'll show you guys the purge and seal. So obviously, not everybody has a Tech 2, but this is nice to have. And I think this is an 08. We're gonna do 08. That's fine. Truck, Chevrolet truck. It's actually a C. Silverado powertrain 4.3 engine, special functions, output controls, and we're going to go to evap system and purge and seal. And so we'll hit enter, and this thing is going to, God, this thing's dirty. Hopefully you can see stuff. Okay, so currently we are venting. So basically what we want to watch on here is our pressure sensor. So we're watching the pressure sensor, and we're gonna hit this button here for increase, and we're gonna pull a small amount of vacuum in the tank. So it's gonna close the vent and open the purge, and it's gonna use the crankcase, it's gonna use the engine vacuum to suck vapors from the gas tank. It's gonna pull a vacuum, really, because it's gonna close the vent. So we hit increase, and then we'll watch this go up half. We can hit increase a little bit more. See, now we're going to the negatives, we're pulling a vacuum, and we're gonna seal this thing around 3. See, okay, oh, we got a little past. So we seal it. And we're holding pretty good, guys. That's kind of what you wanna see. It does have a slight drop to it. You're always gonna have a slight leak. Hopefully that's within the acceptable range. I think it's pretty good. It's slowing down as it gets to 3. Usually you stop it around 3, and that's better. That's what I like to see right there. It's dropping pretty steadily. So then when I release this, you'll see all the pressure drop right off. I'm sorry, I hit increase. System seal. So we're sealing. I should be able to hit exit, and all that pressure will drop. Whew, gone. So if you see that, you got something wide open. So now we actually have pressure in there. So 0.8 inches. Anyway, so yeah, that's how you do purge and seal. If you see it drop off quick, that's a problem. So a way you can diag this is if you see it drop off quick, go out there and stick your finger in the vent hole that goes to the purge, or I'm sorry, the vent solenoid, near where the charcoal canister is, stick your finger in there and try it again. If it doesn't drop out quickly, then you know you've got a vent problem. If it does the same thing, you have a problem elsewhere. Alternatively, if you're sitting here with nothing going on and you hit system seal, right? So we see up there closed, and you see this pressure start to climb, that 0.80. If that starts to go up, then your purge is stuck open. Because if you hit seal, that should stop the purge. So you'll have a 496 purge during non-flow if you have that going on. But that's pretty much the basics of the evap system on how to diagnose it. It's really easy. I love doing evap stuff because it's just so easy to test. There's systems in place for you to use to test it because it's emissions related. It's important. Anyway, that's it. This old truck's fixed. So we got the turn signal works now. When you fire up the turn signal, it does not turn on the high beams, which is great. So that's great. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this chapter of this pickup truck here. I'm gonna tell the guy to come get it. Anyway, yep, let's make sure this key starts it again. And it does. We don't get a service stuff to turn or anything like that, just service tire monitor. He's got no sensors, and we're good. So this thing's ready to rip. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this little car content. So the truck's gone, and they left me their other car, which is having a problem. Seems like it's having a problem for a while now. I was just taking a peek here, and you can tell the insides of these wheels, not too bad, right? This one, obviously it's a Honda. This one, not too bad. This one, not too bad. But when we get over to this one, oh, it's pretty cooked. See all that brake dust? So, looking at the pads, unfortunately, I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but that pad life is not, let me just get you pre-zoomed in there. Yeah, there's no pad left, just the metal part. So we're gonna have to do brakes. I think they have a stuck caliper or a stuck or a restricted brake hose, I'm not sure which. Sometimes with these types of things, for the price of the brake hose, and we'll just see what the caliper does when I try to compress it, but for the price of these things, you almost just want to change it. So I think we're just going to do rear brakes, new caliper and hose on this side, you know, just a surefire way to fix it. And as long as the caliper doesn't seem totally fine, then I'll just do the hose. But if the caliper's hung up a little bit, you know, I'm sure that's the problem. I think it is, but a hose can bite you though. I don't really want to drive it. It's almost metal on metal, but instead it doesn't pulsate, so possible I could just slap pads on it and leave it alone instead of brake pads. So I don't know. Definitely gonna need a caliper and hose, and then they have some other problem with it shaking. So I'd probably have to drive it and get it good and hot to do that. So I'd like to fix it otherwise first before I do that. So I think I may pull it over here and pull the wheel off and just take a quick peek at the caliper and everything and what I'm gonna need for tools, and I'll work on this tomorrow. And we're back in the bathroom. So I have this piece of OSB all cut out to fit, and I got a 2x4 that I measured. It's just gonna be just out of the way of the toilet flange, so we should be somewhere in this range with the flange. And so I'd like to provide some support to the subfloor, because it is not just because it's OSB, but you know, because it's a toilet and it can't hurt. So it gives me something else to screw to, and I'm gonna try to reinforce it from the bottom over here. This board's a little bit rotted, but it's not structural, and I just trying to draw the line somewhere. I think it's okay. It's not wet anymore. I think we're gonna be good to go. Just gonna throw this piece down, and then we're ready to start mocking up the flooring for this whole area. Still unsure if I have to lower the heater or the I see when they raised the floor, they tiled again, they jacked the heater up and they hogged out the whole piece of framing there. Kind of crappy, but I don't know. The heater looks like it's been lifted. So I don't know if that's something I could do in the basement. Maybe just let it sag a little bit. I don't know. So I'll have to look into the height of the heater, because I'd like it to sit on the finished floor. And I also would like to redo it. So in the springtime, I'm sure this project will still be ongoing. I'm probably going to take it out and try to recondition it, make it look nice. That's the plan anyway. So I got everything changed out. I had a little bit of trouble over here with this brake line. Once these things get old, it doesn't want to spin on the coating. This flare nut here, it doesn't want to spin. So what I do is I'll turn the brake line. So you spin the brake line off, and then I ended up cranking this one on, help of some pliers, and vice grips would have been good, but I didn't have any. So kind of yanked, wrenched on it and pushed on it just until I got this to go in the hole so I could put the clip in. Now it looks good, nice and factory. So that worked out nicely, and bolted up over here. And I bled everything, and the pedal feels good. I pumped it up. So I'm ready to throw the wheel on here. And this side is all set, and I just got to do a rotor and then pads on the other side, just so we're putting all the new parts on the car. It doesn't really need it over there, but I paid for the new parts. Could have just bought stuff for this side, but I'd like to match brake compounds and pads and all that. You want even wear, and I want to start everything off fresh. It's just the right way to do it. So this is what we're doing. So I'm going to throw this wheel on and do the brakes on the other side. I'm going to road test this thing, and should be ready to go. And go to a couple stores with it and just make sure everything runs good. We don't get a caliper that's hanging up still, which is, I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed a couple of car clips here in this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.